Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And for this episode of Let's Talk Jinx, when a patch drops, we talk about it. So it's patch 13.10 notes. We talk about changes to Jinx, changes to other AD carries that might affect Jinx in the laning phase, as well as really anything, items, etc. And then something of an AD carry tier list to round the video out, but that's determined by you in the comment section down below. Make sure to converse with each other. Remember, these are community videos after all. Have fun, make new friends down there, I don't know. With that being said, while there are no direct changes to Jinx, there are some changes to other AD carries that the laning matchup might affect, as well as some item changes that we are definitely going to be talking about in this patch. So, one of the first AD carries getting changed is named Kalista. You remember Kalista, right? Maybe not. But with that being said, her E-AP ratio added to slow and damage. Now, I don't know how long any of y'all have been playing League of Legends. AP Kalista has not really ever been a thing ever, but one thing that has been a thing from time to time is the inclusion of Rage Blade into her build, which it says in here it's probably what they're aiming towards, and Rage Blade does have some AP in it, so we'll bump up that slow and damage slightly because of the abilities in that item, going with the rest of her build like a Runon's Hurricane and stuff like that. So don't see this change and be confused and think, oh, Kalistas are idiots and they're going to be building AP, so either the lane phase is going to be a lot easier because they're not going to have any, trading damage, or Kalista's going to be like a mid lane mage now. No, and most AD carries have this, including Jinx. They have some abilities somewhere that has an AP ratio on it, even though they build AD. And it's for two reasons. One, to empower things like off-meta builds if you want to have fun and for fun modes that don't exist. But for two, and the bigger one for a ride is like, if for some reason they need to trim power, like let's say a champion is like, I'm talking very slightly overpowered, that they really don't need a nerf, but they kind of could nerf him to be safe. They sometimes will even look at something like that as a way to buff or nerf someone. And same with if a champion's like barely needing buffs, but they want to buff them somehow. So this is a longer point about this, because you'll notice a lot of AD carries have like an AP ratio, even though their main build, and maybe even the secondary build, lethality and stuff, they still have like an AP ratio on some one item. This is why. Stuff like this. So then when you have champions that can build things like Rage Blade even, there was a time where Rage Blade was like really, I want to say it was season 6, really powerful to build on like anybody. You can have moments like these where it's like, well then there you go, that's the buff. It works. So for the Kalista Jinx matchup though, they're probably not rushing Rage Blade, and even if they are, it's not going to be built in the early parts of the laning phase. So the laning phase at the beginning will go exactly the same as it already does. Once the Rage Blade comes in, remember this is the damage on the E, so when they're stacking E's on you to then rend you to slow you, that's going to be a problem, but it's always been a problem. The damages, there might be a little bit more sprinkled on damage when that item is completed. Or even, I guess, the AP components of that item even gets completed. But I don't think they're going to rush that in the laning phase is what I'm saying. So you should be safe. If we continue by scrolling down, we get to Vayne. And this is like a common theme is why I went that. I know it was a little bit of a tangent, I'm sorry, but a little bit of a longer part. Because Vayne's Q AP ratio is being added. And they're even saying AP Vayne is not real and it can't hurt you, even though that's more like the meme and the joke. But at the same time, same thing. Vayne was someone back when Rage Blade was strong that built Rage Blade. There's a couple champions up in here that do. Even Jinx, you could get away with it. You just shouldn't though. It wasn't really more beneficial than her crit build even at the time. But like it was a thing you could do, like it's a crit and then throw a Rage Blade in there. That's how powerful the item was. But in general, that is an item some of these AD carries still do build, even if it's a more of an off build, and it can be a way to empower some of these champions like they're doing here with a bonus physical damage on next attack. Now, like Kalista, again, Vayne probably isn't rushing this item because even Rage Blade was absolutely like the strongest item to build. Some people would still build it second because there's still another item they need first. And we're going to get into some of the items because that's important even for Jinx later. But you will see Vayne's and Kalista's come back if this ends up being more beneficial than I'm saying it's going to be. I'm just thinking in the laning phase though, if you're Jinx, you still trade the same, you still outrange Vayne for the most part, and once that item is built, it's probably out of laning phase, in which case it's a different ballpark. We're talking mainly laning phase adjustments as Jinx you might need to make because of this, which might be very few if none, because that item also is kind of expensive. Now, critical strike item changes is something we want to look at because this will affect Jinx. So Bloodthirster, for example, the cost is unchanged, the recipe is unchanged, the attack damage is unchanged, and the crit strike is unchanged. The lifesteal is going from 15% to 18%, and what's new is while above 50 HP, gain an additional 40 or 10 to 40 attack damage based on level. So I like Bloodthirster on Jinx. I build it pretty late, but I still like it on Jinx because lifesteal, there's a lot of things that can blow you up, the shield, etc. And so not only is the lifesteal being increased, but while you're above 50% health, you'll also gain more attack damage, which will empower your crits as Jinx, which is beautiful. We will take those all the time. Gale Force, meanwhile, now will give you, 7% bonus movement speed. Jinx is pretty immobile, so that is something that could be kind of interesting. Now, Jinx, funny enough, was like the poster child of this item when they first showed the trailer for what the new items did. It had it on Jinx, and then Jinx ended up building Kraken Slayer instead because Jinx wants to destroy items and towers, towers and stuff like that. But it's still interesting because it is a pretty decent item to build if you don't want to build Kraken Slayer. So there you go. And also there's like the Ornn version of it. So Typhoon, the bonus movement speed is 7% to 9%. Goinsu's Rage Blade. So first of all, it's going from legendary tier. It's going to be a mythic item. So I take it back. So maybe Callista and Vayne have to rush it because you usually have to rush your mythic item. Like that's the one thing about mythic items, as cool as they are, you have to build them first. So it's going to have 30 attack damage, 30 ability power, so it is there. The attack speed is not 45, it's 25. Applies 30 magic damage on hit, convert to crit strike up to 150. Has a unique passive with basic attacks, grants a stack of 8% attack speed up to 4 times. And the mythic is each of your other mythic items, empower magic penetration and armor penetration. And then Seething Sorrow is the upgraded version of that. You have Immortal Shield Bow is up in there. The attack speed has actually been removed on that if you want to survive. Like you want to go Bloodthirster, Immortal Shield Bow, don't kill me Jinx. This is your item, it looks like, because the attack speed won't be there, but the other stuff will still be there. The new, it's going from a mythic tier. Oh, Immortal Shield Bow is not going to be a mythic, it's going to be a legendary. Did I miss that on Gale? Hold on, my bad. No, Gale still, okay, I didn't miss that. I was like, wait, hold on, is that one of the major changes? No, but Immortal Shield Bow is no longer going to be a mythic item. I guess AD carries are only allowed to have like 3 mythic items. Other classes can have like 6 of them, but, and I say that because Infinity Edge, if you did not know, Infinity Edge is going from a legendary item to a mythic item. And it also empowers your other legendary items by 5 attack damage. Now, the rest of it's unchanged, same cost, etc. But Infinity Edge, and they're even saying this, across League's lifetime, Infinity Edge has almost always been a mythic item for AD carries and everything and but name. And that's true. Back in Season 5, you want this first. There's a lot of times you want this first, and they kept trying to balance it so that you didn't want it first. But we want it first, and so they're going to make it so that you can get it first. And so if you didn't rush Infinity Edge because you were rushing other mythic item like Kraken Slayer and stuff, guess what? We're back into rushing Infinity Edge like the good old days as God intended. So with that being said, I think that's for the most part. I mean, I guess there's some Kraken Slayer changes. It's no longer a mythic item, it's a legendary item, so you can still build Infinity Edge and Kraken Slayer. So, you got some of those stuff in there. Some attack damage being increased on things like Mortal Reminder and the whatnots. But Phantom Dancer's cost is going up by 200 in case you like Phantom Dancer, but the attack speed is also going up by 5%. Rapid Fire Cannon is going to 30 attack damage, which is going to be good. And where's the one I'm really waiting for? Okay, Runon's Hurricane, apply 30 magic damage on hit. Okay, that's interesting. The cost is going up by 200. That's also interesting, but it's back. Ladies, gentlemen, and whatever else you identify as. Static Shiv is back. Now, if you're too new to know what Static Shiv is, let's just say it was a really great item that also helped with wave clear, with its energized attack and the whatnot. It's going to cost 3,000 gold, however, but it was a zeal item like Rapid Fire Cannon and stuff that you would sometimes look at building. And as Jinx, some people still want Runon's Hurricane anyways, but it's just kind of nice to have the Static Shiv option back, because when you would hit a minion, there'd be chain lightning to like 4 other minions, and once you had crit and stuff, that would hurt. In team fights, when you had that proc up, it would hurt, combined with a Rapid Fire Cannon. It was a really good item back in the day. I don't know if it still will have that kind of synergy now. We're just gonna have to wait and see. But it could be interesting to see it back if people will build it on Jinx and stuff like that. So then you got Stormrazor. I almost forget this item even exists sometimes because I don't know if anyone even builds it anymore. I'm trying to see if there's an item that went and became a mythic because the other 2 got taken away, or is it just 2 mythic items now, Infinity Edge and Gale Force, which is kind of really limiting, which is unfortunate. But no, it looks like we jump into like assassin items and stuff like now, and support changes, which are interesting but not what I'm looking for. Let's see other items real quick. Yeah, no, it looks like that's kind of it for things like that. So then we'll jump into the conclusion of the video by saying Snow Moon Ahri, Snow Moon Morgana, and Snow Moon Varus. So you might see more Morgana and Varus in your games because people are going to probably want to be playing those skins, and those can be both in the bottom lane. Ironically, they can both be in the mid lane too, depending if you really want to risk it with Varus, but Morgana is a bit more flexible after all. So that being said, that's going to be all for this video. For the AD carry tier list, it looks like, because like the Kalista and Vayne changes aren't going to bump them from, like, say, if they're a B tier to A tier, because they're AP, they're based on the Rage Blade. They're not horrible, but they could be good. We're just going to have to wait and see is the thing. So really, as the dust settles, no one really moves in my opinion, but what is your opinion? Comment in the comment section down below. But that's all from this video from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, the actual subscribe button. But I don't know which video will be next, because I have a lot of kinks. So until next time, take care. GG get jinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly.